Great. Good deal. Here we are. Welcome. Sunday morning, yoga church. It is October 19th and 2025. And it was a big weekend here in the States. Actually, I think all around the world, but especially here in the States. And a lot of elation happening. And I think a lot of, I know I want to be grounded. I need to be grounded. I feel like I need to be grounded. So today's practice is going to be a grounding deep, stretchy love fest. And if you've got a block, have a block handy. You may want to use it. I'm definitely going to be using mine. And I also want to mention, and this is not a mandatory part of the practice today, but I'm also going to cue a few times when you could use a wall. Because as I've done this practice on my own in preparation, I use the wall for my feet, really, because to add just an additional sense of being anchored. We're going to spend a lot of time on the floor. We'll do a couple of standing poses, but no, we're not going to be upright doing any big like inhale up, exhale down, inhale up, chair pose. None of that. Yay. But it will be slow. And remember, slow is not always easy. And we're going to hold some shapes for a while. Anytime you want to hit the eject button, you don't need my permission to do so, right? So, ahimsa, non harming, starts on the mat. Be good to yourselves, be kind to yourselves, take rest when you need to take rest. And hopefully this practice, my intention is it will replenish your reserves. So we're going to start out in child's pose. And in balasana, I am putting a block on its lowest height underneath my head. And if you want to use a wall, you can take your mat all the way to the wall. But like I said, that's not mandatory today, but I'm going to cue it just in the event you want to do this practice later in the week and you want to try some of these opportunities to anchor your feet to the wall. You can do that later in the week, but don't move your mats around today and all that. So, child's pose. Give yourselves a couple of deep breaths. Take your arms forward if they're not. Forearms to the mat and turn your palms up. If Ujjayi pranayama, that subtle ocean sound in your breath, is part of your practice, you can wake that up. Ultimately, we're looking for a steady breath and a smooth breath. Even more important than sound is smoothness to the breath. Lift your forehead and set your block off to the side. And I want you to come onto your belly. Slink yourself forward. Oh. Here's an opportunity later in the week. If you're using a wall, you can press the pads of the toes and the balls of your feet into the baseboard. And then stack your hands one on top of the other and rest your forehead on top of your hands. I want you to press down through the pubic bone and the two hip points. Lift your chest slightly, just enough to pull your ribs forward. So you're really lengthening the abdomen and then place your forehead on your hands once again. Stay with your breath as your chest and your abdomen and even your lower back rise and fall with the rhythm of your inhales and exhales. And once again, lift your chest just a little bit, anchor into the pubic bone and the two hip points, and pull your ribs forward, making your abdomen even that much longer. And then once again, forehead down to the floor, or to the hands, rather. Tuck your toes under and lift your knees up off the mat, activating the legs. Becoming hyper aware of all the parts and pieces of you that are in touch with your mat, that are being anchored to the ground, the earth element right now. Toes, pelvis, belly, ribs, forearms. And keeping the toes tucked and the legs active and your forehead connected to the back of your hands. Lift your forearms up off the floor and let your hands be what lifts your head. So keep that connection. Keep legs active. Neck is long and lower down. Place your other hand on top. We're going to do that one more time. Toes tuck. Lift forearms, elbows, head and chest. Legs active. And come on down. Ooh, place your hands underneath your shoulders. Gently push yourself up onto your hands and your knees, and we're coming into child's pose once again. And you can take your knees together. You can take your knees apart. Let your belly rest between your legs. Anything goes that feels good on your lower back. Extending the arms forward, inching the fingertips towards the top of your mat, while at the same time gluing the sitting bones to the heels ish. And let's take this child's pose over to the left. Bring your left fingertips to the floor about 6 inches beyond your left knee, and sweep your right arm across the sticky mat. I like to just take my fingertips to the long edge of the sticky mat and use that as just a little leverage, kind of like that's going to be my stopping point. And as I glue my fingertips, my thumb and index and middle finger into the outer edge of the mat, it's like a reference point, y'all. It's not anything significant, but for me, it's a reference point. And then I can lean into my right rib basket, develop a deeper stretch along the right waist, the fascia, and all the tissues really around the right ribs, into the armpit, the arm. And we'll slowly travel our way to the other side. So come through the midline, and if you feel like you want to take a pause there at the midline, allowing the spine to self-organize, go for it. And then meet us over, arcing your spine to the right. Right fingertips will be to the outside of the right knee, just about 5 or 6 inches. And again, lengthening the left arm across the mat to the right. And I'm using my fingertips against the long edge, the outer edge of the mat, just as a reference point. It's kind of like I can give myself a little bit of manual traction. And while you're here, I'm going to invite you to roll your right shoulder back and just notice what and how that changes anything for you. It may not. We're not trying to achieve anything, to be clear. We're just going to roll through experience today. Experience over aesthetics. All right, bring yourself back down the midline. Whoa. Child's pose, balasana, arms extending forward. Excuse me. And then pull yourself forward once more. Stay low. Slink yourself forward onto your belly. Roar. All right, I'm going to have you place your arms into a cactus shape, forehead on the floor. If it feels more comfortable to have your forehead on your block, go for it. Okie dokie. You're going to take your left leg up off the floor and your right arm, head and chest. So right arm is still in a cactus shape. Left arm is on the floor. Left leg is elevated. And lower down. Forehead comes down as well. Take a moment to land. Now you lift up head, chest, left arm, and right leg. Lower down, stack your hands, rest your forehead on the back of your hands. And we're going to do that again. Arms into a cactus shape. And this time I want you to tuck your toes. Fire up the legs. And here we go. Right arm, head, chest, left leg. And lower down. Let's go right into the other side. Toes are tucked, left toes tucked. And here we go. Left arm, head, chest, right leg. Keep eyes looking down at the mat, down at the floor, so the cervical spine can remain long. Lower down. Stack your hands, rest your forehead on your hands. And take a few breaths. You can relax your feet on the floor. Maybe wiggle jiggle your hips a little from side to side. Kind of stirring up, waking up the cerebral spinal fluids. Getting some motion. Motion is lotion. Bring your forehead to the floor. Bring your hands behind your back, taking the backs of your hands to your sacrum. So your elbows are bent. I'd like your elbows off the floor, your shoulders off the floor, if that works for you. And then here we go. You're going to keep your feet down, but lift your head, lift your chest. Elbows raising, shoulders back. And And come on down. Slide your hands under your shoulders. Tuck your toes. Lift up onto your hands and your knees. We're coming into downward facing dog. So when you're doing this practice later in the week, if you want to bring your feet to the wall, you would come into downward facing dog and let your heels rest at the wall or the baseboard. Remember, that's not a mandatory piece for today. It's just an option that you can explore when you do the replay. Fire up your legs, pull those femurs back. Now you're going to take your right foot all the way up to the top of the sticky mat, or well, up to your right hand. How about that? Coming into a lunge shape. And this is where your block will come into the picture. And some of you might feel better using two blocks, but that's up to you. You're going to stay on the ball of your back foot. The back knee, left knee is going to remain elevated. And place the block widthwise across your mat to the inside of your right foot. And then in this way, you can bring both hands to the block. Then you're going to breathe in. I want you to draw that right knee forward just a little bit more. Yes, I know it's going to go beyond your ankle. That's okay. And then when you breathe out, you're going to straighten the right leg. Ooh, and pull the toes and the ball of the right foot up off the floor. And when you inhale, step your right foot all the way down, bend the knee, glide it forward, let it go out beyond the toes even. Exploring full range of motion in the knee, and exhale, straighten the leg, peel the toes and the ball of the foot up. Good, 2 more times, gliding the right knee forward, maybe even sinking the top of the left thigh and the pelvis a little closer to the floor, and exhale, straighten the right leg, peel the ball of the foot up so you're really anchored in the heel. And one more time, coming forward into this lunge. And then pull the leg back, pull the hips back rather. Straightening the right leg, both legs are straight. We're going to stay here for a couple of breaths. Now, either with your right thumb, you can hook your thumb in the right hip crease and pull the outer right hip back. At the same time, pressing the ball of your right big toe, the ball mound of the right big toe, press it forward, but it's still in the air, right? Excellent. Woo! And if your right thumb is in your hip crease, place it back to your block, set your right foot down. Ooh la la. And slowly bring your left knee down. And we're going to hang out in this low lunge for about a minute. Whether you tuck the back toes under or extend the top of the foot down to the mat, it's totally up to you. You're welcome to keep your fingertips or your hands to the block or bring your fingertips to the floor. Some of you might want to come down onto your forearms on the block. You do you, boo. Grounded and anchored, steady and smooth with the breath. Focused with the eyes. And we're going to turn this into a little bit of a twist. So you can set your block to the side, bring your left hand all the way down to the mat. I'm taking mine to the outer edge of the mat. Turn your right toes out to the right, about 35, 40 degrees. Right hand to your right knee, roll your right shoulder back, turn your ribs and your sternum and your chest to the right. Okay, option A. Option B is to kick your left foot up behind you, reach back with your right hand, find the foot, the ankle, pant leg, draw the left heel towards your bum. And me personally, I like to then turn my head and look down towards my left hand. Mm-mm-mm. You can release your left foot if you've got it. Slowly sweep your right arm forward and find a little bit of cobra action in your upper back. Right arm over right ear if your shoulder will give you that range of motion. And then continue to turn your chest to the right. Try turning your sternum towards the ceiling. Excellent. Right hand to the floor. Good. Turn your right toes forward. You're going to pick your left knee up. Spin your left heel down. Another wall opportunity for you to use down the road. Anchor the outer edge of your left ankle, or I'm sorry, your left heel into the baseboard. And inch your right foot over to the right edge of your sticky mat. So you've got a broader base between the two heels. And then slowly lift yourself up into warrior one. Woo, that's a toughie. You're going to bring your hands behind your back, clasp your fingers together. Pull your knuckles down, down, down behind you, lifting your heart. And then you're going to bow forward for what we call grateful warrior. Just coming on down. Maybe right shoulder comes to the inside of the right knee. Maybe it lands on top. Maybe it doesn't want to even go there today. That's fine. Wherever you are, I want you to fire up that back leg. Pull your arms dynamically up away from your back, knuckles lifting to the ceiling, or maybe some of you going over your head. And allow your head to hang heavy off the end of your cervical spine. Yes, I hear you. I know what's happening. I feel it. Draw your right hip in towards the midline slightly. Whoo, hoo, hoo, hoo. Yes, I'm ready to. Let's bring the fingertips to the floor. Holy smokes. Ay, 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 ay. Come onto the ball of your back foot. And again, wall users, you would place your heel at the wall. And we're going to step back to three-legged dog. That means right leg is going up. Woo! You're going to roll the hip back, bending the right knee. Ah, yowza. Hmm. All right, we're almost ready to change gears, everybody. Square your hips, re-extend your leg. You can take your right toes to the wall for a deeper stretch. And then we're going to come forward into pigeon. Yes, you heard that. Here we go. Bring your right knee forward and sweep your knee onto the mat by your right hand and position yourself into pigeon in the way that works for your body, for your bones, your joints. And that also means if you want to come onto your back and do reclining pigeon, you do that because we're going to be here for a bit. And I'm going to have you, if you're upright, to have your fingertips into your mat and keep your chest lifted for these first several breaths. Mm. And a little fine tuning that you can explore in your body. The outer right hip, kind of draw it back, just like you did in that standing pose. And as the outer right hip pulls back, the left hip, the outer left hip, nudges forward and down. Micro moves, totally micro moves. All right. Now I'm going to let you come down onto your chest. Take your forearms forward one at a time. And you can place the block under your forehead. And you can stack your hands and place your forehead on your hands. Or, third option is to take your right arm. No, sorry, take your left arm and thread it between your right hand and your right knee, just like we do when we thread the needle, onto the floor. So you'll bring your left shoulder and the left side of your head onto the floor. And then if you'd like, you can wrap your right arm behind your back. And maybe your right hand grabs your right toes. Yeah, I know. It's a pretzel move. Only do it if it feels like something you want to experience. Okay, are we about done with this? I think we're about done with this. If you've got your right arm behind your back, gently unwrap and place your right hand on the floor. Lift your chest so you can withdraw your left arm. Woo, righting yourself into pigeon once more. Lift the chest. Okay, let's tuck the back toes under if they're not already. Pick up the back left knee and slowly, holy cow, move back into downward facing dog. Mm, 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 mm. Heels to the wall if you're practicing with a wall, just for that added sense of being anchored and connected. Okay. So the left side knows what's coming. And I know somebody out there is like, I think I need a bathroom break. I think I'm going to skip this part. But if you skip the left side, you're going to spend the rest of the day walking around like a corkscrew. So let's do this thing. You're going to take your left foot forward, big step forward all the way to your left hand. Stay on the ball of your back foot. Now I say that, and of course, you know the rules. You want to come to your knee, you come to your knee. All right, all right. You're going to place the block across the center of your mat. I've got mine on the second height. Good. First, we're going to find this lunge and just hang here for just another breath. And then we'll flow. Think of this as like shooting some WD-40 into your knee, ankle, and hip joints. Take a breath in, maybe even look forward. Oh, yeah. And then draw your hips back as you straighten the left leg, and just the heel is on the floor. Peel your toes and the ball of your foot up. Ooh, that wakes up the hamstrings and the calves. Breathing in, plant the left foot to the floor, glide the left knee forward. And breathing out, pull the hips back, peel the left foot up, just pressing down through the heel. Notice if you're on the outer edge of your heel or the inner edge. Here we go, two more times. Breathing in, Breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. All right, we're going to stay with the left leg straight. Where are you on that left heel? See if you can plant your left heel, this very center of your left heel on the sticky mat. And then here's this opportunity with your left thumb, if you'd like, to place it in the crease of your hip joint, kind of hook it in there and gently nudge that outer left hip to go back. But then at the same time, lengthen the inseam of your leg, pressing forward through the ball at the big toe mound of your left foot. Good. I'm not going to get too rigid about all the little micro movements. It's just fun to experience and explore and notice how the body responds. And if the left leg and hip respond the same as the right. Okie dokie. And both hands to the block. Left hand comes down to the block. Bend your left knee and softly settle your right knee down to the mat. We're going to hang in this low lunge. Whether you tuck the right toes or stretch the right toes back is up to you. And right now I feel like being up on my fingertips on the block, as I want my chest lifted and my eyes forward. I want to look ahead. But that doesn't mean you have to do that too. You might feel more focused, better concentration if your eyes are down to the floor. And we're going to come into a twisty shape. Okay, you're going to turn your left toes out slightly. So that gives us a little bit of an external rotation in the left leg. Right hand's going to come down to the floor. Left hand to your left knee. And then we can just pause right here. Just start to turn the sternum and the chest to the left. And that might just feel perfect for you. Maybe you want to kick the right foot up behind you. Reach back with your left hand and grab the ankle or the foot and hang on. Hang on. And then I like to turn my head and look down just beyond my right hand. All righty. If you've got the foot, let go. And once your right foot comes back to the mat, sweep your left arm forward. And you're going to pause here for just a moment, reaching the left arm over the left ear and maybe rolling your chest open to the ceiling just a little bit more. And then left hand to the floor. Turn your left toes forward. All right, so up next is the Grateful Warrior. Inch your left foot over to the left side of your mat. Pick your right knee up. Spin your right heel down, maybe anchoring the outer edge of your heel to the wall. And then slowly rise up into Warrior One. Ooh, the power. Bring your hands behind your back, clasping your fingers together. Drop your knuckles down, 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 down. Buoying your heart up, 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 and then bow the upper body down low. Maybe left shoulder coming inside the left knee, or maybe just in the direction of the left knee. And the arms moving up away from the back. How's your jaw doing, everybody? Give a little toggle to the mandible. Notice where you're hanging on to tension. Okie dokie. Let's take fingertips to the floor. You're going to come onto the ball of your back foot. Okay, so up next is the three-legged dog. Oh, hands to the mat. You're going to take your left leg up, 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 up. Bend the knee, roll the hip back. And then square your hips, re-extend your leg. We're going to hold it right here for 2 more breaths. Maybe if you're at the wall, you can place your left toes to the wall. Kind of finding that split stretch. And then next up, everybody, is pigeon. Are you still with me? And a big cheer goes up from the crowd. Yeah, let's go. Pull yourself forward to staff. Bring your left knee down to the floor. And inch your right toes back. Stay up on your fingertips for these first several breaths, if your body will agree to that. We're almost there. Do y'all remember when yoga classes were 90 minutes long? And that was like the standard. Those were the days, huh? Even an hour is a long time to be online. I get that. Y'all are doing great. I love this Sunday morning practice. All right, we're going to come on down to the floor. Now remember, if this doesn't feel great on your hips, or especially your left knee, go onto your back. Do the pigeon on your back. Be good to yourself. Gosh. Walk your hands forward. And then either stay on the forearms, bring your forehead down to a block or to the floor, or we're going to do this kind of thread the needle jam, okay? You've got your left hand on the floor, lift the arm up though to make some space. You're going to take your right arm and thread it between your left hand and your left knee, and then you might be able to come down onto your right shoulder and the right side of your head. Now, you might also just roll over to the right into a heap, and that's okay too. But if you can stay in the shape, even better. Now, another opportunity for you to experiment with is to bring your left arm behind your back, kind of binding, not kind of binding the pose, but binding the pose. And you wrap your left hand or fingers around your left foot. Yeah, it's a little funky. It's kind of a twister thing, but you can experiment. If you've got your left arm behind you and you're binding the pose, I want you to roll that left shoulder back. And unwrap your arm. Place your left hand onto the mat, and then you've got to put a little power into that. Press left hand into the floor so you can withdraw your right arm. Boom, chakalaka. Let's come up onto the fingertips and just lift the chest, open the heart. Okay. You're going to lift your back knee up. So tuck your right toes under, pick up the knee, downward facing dog. Oh, heels to the wall, maybe, maybe not. Depends on if you want to use the wall or not. Take the femur bones back, back, back. And tell you what, grab your block. Place your block between your thighs. Good. And then let's hug that block. Femur bones back. Adductors hugging the block. Sit bones elevating. Spine descending. Oh, come down to your knees, please. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Set the block off to the side. Oh, child's pose. Yeah. Hmm. Lift yourself up onto your hands and your knees and come onto your back. Oh. Hmm. Yay. We love this part. Yay. I want you to keep your knees bent and feet to the floor. And take your right ankle to the top of your left knee as though you were going to come into reclining pigeon or eye of the needle. And instead, what I want you to do is keeping this shape, drop your legs to the right. So your right thigh comes down and then pull your legs up and sweep them over to the left. It's like windshield wipers with the pigeon legs. And go to the right and left 2 more times. Whenever you get to the third round, when your legs go left, keep them there. So I think most of you know what's happening here. So you can take your left hand and grab your right ankle, anchor the right foot down onto the floor. And our intention is to keep the right knee moving away from the chest. I like the way it feels to have my right arm extended up over my head. And that might not feel so great in your body. So take your arm out like a T or place it down by your side. Bring your knees up. Allow your right leg to cross all the way over your left leg, thigh over thigh. And you're going to pull your knees towards your chest. This is the leg piece of Gomukhasana. So you can bring your hands to your knees or wrap them over your left shin. That's your top shin. Or you can slide your hands down to your ankles and feet. Terrific. Now unwrap your legs, set your feet to the floor. Left ankle to your right knee. And then windshield wipers. Drop your legs to the left. Swing them over to the right. And two more times, go left and right. And then we'll stay in the shape with the left foot on the floor. The intention of keeping the left knee moving away from the chest. Definitely going to be spending a lot more time in the coming weeks in the pelvis, the hips, and the thighs, as according to Ayurvedic medicine, this is the seat, they call it the seat of Vata dosha. Pelvis, legs, and thighs, the colon. So we'll be spending a fair amount of our efforts at strengthening this region, as well as cultivating suppleness in this region. And bring your knees up, legs up, cross left leg all the way over right leg. And then pull your legs towards your chest. Once we cross the autumn equinox, which we did already some time ago, we're moving into Vata season, right? Fall and early winter. So that's going to inform our Sunday morning practice for our foreseeable future. Good. I'm going to have you uncross your legs, both knees to your chest, please. And one last time, take your block and place your block between your thighs. And then with knees bent towards your chest, reach up and take your peace fingers, wrap them around your big toes, and then push your heels up to the ceiling and squeeze that block between your thighs. See what kind of shape you could be in to keep your head and your shoulders down on the floor. That might mean bending your knees a little bit. While you're here, take a look at your feet and notice that they're sickling inward. And as though you were grounding the four corners of each foot to the ceiling, press firmly through the four corners, particularly the inner heel and the ball of the foot at the big toe mound. Excellent. Good. And release your toes. Let your knees soften. Woo, you can set the block off to the side. Oh, yay. Okay, and then just for about a minute, oh, you can stretch your legs down onto the floor. And those of you who are using a wall today or in the coming days, press your heels against the baseboard, getting your legs lined up and activated against the wall. And I'm going to have you stay there for like the next 30 seconds before we all relax into Shavasana. And I also want to extend the offer in place of Shavasana, sit up and meditate with me. So the choice is yours. Now you can stay on your back with your feet against the wall, even if you let your feet relax a little bit. Still, you could have your heels against the wall or the baseboard, just for that added sense of being connected, connected to your space, connected to your body. Or take a seat with me. And that can be in any way, any shape. You can sit up on your block, you can sit up on your bed, you can, I don't care if you get on the sofa. Good, good. So wherever you are, close your eyes, please. And find your breath. And we're not trying to manipulate the length or the duration of our breath at this point. I just want you to count. Each breath gets a count. Breathing in, breathing out. That's one. Breathing in, breathing out. Two. Count to four and then circle back and start over again at one. And you know the drill. When, if you discover that you're singing an 80s hairband song, or you're planning breakfast after class, or maybe you smell breakfast cooking, even better. When you discover that you're not present with your breath, be gentle and be consistent and go back to breath number one and start over. At this time, you can stop counting. Just stay with the flow of your breath, the pattern of your breath. And begin deepening your inhales and lengthening your exhales. And bring your two palms together and place the base of your thumbs to your forehead. May we continue to cultivate a mind that is open and expansive and at times elated. And at the same time, grounded, grounded in truth. Bring your fingertips down to your lips. May we continue to cultivate a breath that is open and expansive and at times elated. And also staying grounded in our speech and in our communication. And place the base of your thumbs at your sternum, your hands at your heart. And may we continue to cultivate a body and a spirit that are both open and expansive and at times elated, while also remaining grounded, connected, and steady. Thank you so much for joining me, the others on the screen, and again for indulging me as I practice along with you today. Good stuff, everybody. Whew. My legs feel like fettuccine, a little al dente.